everybody, and welcome back to the 103rd episode of the Triboro Podcast. I'm your host, Justin Alonso, joined by Nicholas O'Brien in about 15 frames. How are we doing, Nicholas
Yes.
O'Brien, in 15 frames?
More than 15 frames, I think. I hope.
Yeah, it's a
But
little.
20?
I can see some pixels.
22 frames,
22
maybe?
frames. I can see some pixels.
Something like that.
But
But
how are we
I'm
doing?
doing well. I'm tired of West Coast games. But the Mets still have a few on their schedule, just not at 10 o'clock at the very least. But yeah, just three 10 o'clock games in a row
Oh my
should be
god! Yeah.
that's malpractice. Absolute malpractice.
Yeah, I got lucky. I start work next week. The Yankees' last West Coast games were last week, or the week before, however you want to call it. And I have to start waking up at like 6 in the morning for work. So they don't have any more West Coast games. So now it's like enough time to get into a routine. Got up at 7
Right.
today. I know, wow. So now I can actually get into a sleeping routine. But yeah, West Coast games
Amazing.
fucking suck.
Yeah, I missed my first game of the season completely. I had to go to sleep. Was working at 5 the next morning, and even if I just started the game, I knew I wouldn't be able to
It
sleep
probably was
after.
the best one you could have not
It's probably the
watched.
best one to miss because I
Yeah.
would have been
Yeah,
pissed
because you had to
if I stood
get
up
up
for
at
that one.
5, right?
Yeah, I'm in at 5, so I have to get up at 4.
You would have gotten, what, 2.5 hours sleep? If you fell asleep right away?
Right, exactly. So had to miss that one, but again, it is what it
And
is.
for those that don't know, you do not want to see Nick without sleep. You
No,
will die.
it's not a good combination.
Anyways, might as well
Yes,
talk about that
without
more
doubt.
in Queens.
Yes, obviously. So with that being said, let's head over to Queens.
Now entering Queens.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Queens, where the Mets have finished up a long 7-game road trip. 4 of the Dodgers, 3 of the Rockies, split in LA, a sweep in Colorado. Couldn't have drawn it up much better, but there's just this sinking feeling of uncapitalized opportunity that sticks with you. Obviously, from LA, because you can't really do much else in Colorado. You know, you split the series, which is what I said last week, is exactly what I would have signed up for. But every game, especially the last one, you had every chance to win. And yes, the Dodgers are an excellent team. But, you know, it's just like one thing, you go point to one thing that kind of screwed the pooch for the Mets that really didn't have much to do with the Dodgers, except for maybe on Tuesday night. That, again, you could have at least taken 3 out of 4. You could have won all 4. You could have won all 7, really, going back to the series in Citi Field. You know, that extra innings game where nobody learned how to hit a fly ball. But yeah, I mean, a split is amazing. You take the season series. So if in some post-apocalyptic
You do it.
I can't pronounce it. Oh my god. I'm having
Post-apocalyptic.
post-apoc. Oh god, my
We're not leaving this table until you
my
pronounce
third grade
post-apocalyptic.
my third grade speech is coming back to me. Post-apocalyptic. Holy shit!
Apocalyptic.
I need to look at this. I need to
Say it with me.
apocalyptic.
Apocalyptic.
Apoc
Post-apocalyptic.
apocalyptic. Apocalyptic.
And you make fun of me for watching The Walking Dead and a bunch of post-apocalyptic shows that I love. This is why I watch it. For this exact moment.
Post-apocalyptic. Post-apocalyptic. All right. In some post-apocalyptic world where the Mets and Dodgers are tied for a playoff spot, the Mets have an edge over the Dodgers. If they somehow both are fighting for a wild card, Mets get in, Dodgers don't. If they both are tied for the best record in the National League for home field advantage, the Mets will edge out the Dodgers. Pause. So, obviously, that's huge. Big implications for that, but we'll get into that in just a second because, of course, you got your Triboro MD injury report got some good news, got some bad news. Frankie Montas has continued his rehab start. Hasn't looked the best. He's given up about, I think, 7 home runs in 12 innings, which is not great. Seems to be kind of struggling there, but again, it's rehab assignments. I myself am not really putting a lot of stock into it because when it comes to rehab, you just want them to be healthy. They might be tinkering with some things. This is his spring training. Essentially, he got hurt before spring training started, so he needs time. But if I find it, he has given up and only 6. I lied. 6 home runs in how many innings? At 12 innings. So, not really great, but the one way I'll spin this is with the 6 home runs, that's a majority of the runs he's given up. So it's not like he's kind of getting hit around. He's just getting hit hard, I guess, if you kind of want to spin it that way. But he's probably still about 2 weeks from a possible return. So again, end of June, really. And then we move on to Sean Manaea, who made his first rehab start this past week. He also got roughed up a little, but again, don't care. He is probably 2 weeks behind Manaea. Excuse me. Manaea is probably 2 weeks behind Montas. So we're probably looking at a July, maybe even post All-Star break return for Sean Manaea, but we'll see.
Those were the pitching ones.
Those were the pitching ones. It just makes it a little easier because once Montas and Manaea are back, this pitching staff is so crowded. I mean, it's already kind of crowded because you have Paul Blackburn, who's now back, but he's kind of in that 6-starter, long relief, swingman role. But with Montas and Manaea, those two are starters. After that, with the way this pitching staff has performed, it's going to be really tough to figure out who kind of to boot off. But, as everyone always says, baseball always figures that stuff out. So
that's
moving
also
on
champagne
to that,
problems too.
Nope. Exactly.
When it comes to the starting rotation, that is such champagne problems.
Right.
And yeah.
Yeah, look at the Dodgers. I mean, they have like an entire pitching staff on the IL, and yet they can still run people out who are semi-decent. But moving on from that, Mark Vientos got hurt in the LA series on Monday night's game. He has a low-grade hamstring strain, so he's going to be out for a few weeks. I'm not going to say Justin did voodoo magic, but Justin did voodoo magic because we talked about it last week, kind of like, Phantom IL, get him rehab stuff, and then he pulls his hamstring. So, good job, Justin. Way to go.
No, it's Tyrese Halliburton. He's killing everyone.
That's true. You've seen the voice change videos?
Yes.
His voice just changes like mid-sentence. Yeah,
and
that guy's on.
Do you know the Pacers' record in the playoffs on Sundays?
No.
They are 0-4 on Sundays in the NBA playoffs.
I wonder why. But yeah, so Mark Vientos is going to be out for weeks. But this gives them perfect opportunity to get him on some rehab assignments and just maybe let him find his swing, let him find his confidence, let him find his swag back. But I guess the biggest thing to come out of his injury is, to my majority of disliking, as in, for the most part, I didn't like the move. They did bring up Ronnie Mauricio. I think he still needed time in the minor leagues, but, hopefully I'm eating my words in another week. The first couple games he was in did not look good. Did not look good at all. But in AAA this year, he's hitting over 500 and over 500 on base and over 800 slug, in 9 games. But still, it's very impressive, regardless of what you think about him as a prospect. And, he had a great Colorado series. So I brought his season slash line to 241, 333, 474 through his first 5 games. He hit his first home run. He has 2 stolen bases. I think he hit a double. Yeah, he had a double the other night. So his season stat line looks pretty good, obviously in the small sample, but the first few games against the Dodgers, he just looked completely overmatched. The chase problems are apparent. That's always going to be his issue. That's always going to be the one thing that holds him back is his inability to stop the chase and then therefore strike out. So far, he's chasing 34.8% of the time. He's whiffing 33% of the time. So that's just his game. So if some guys can kind of not use that to their advantage, but kind of work over that. I always go back to Brent Rooker. Brent Rooker is like the epitome of this, but that comes with its ebbs and flows as a player. Like Brent Rooker, he chases 26% of the time. He whiffs 30% of the time. Only strikes out like 22% of the time. And we kind of saw at the beginning of the season for Rooker, he kind of started slow because of the way his approach works. You can get easily beat. But when you do damage, when you find your pitch, obviously it goes a long way. And for Ronnie, that is exactly it. When he's gonna chase, he's gonna strike out, he's gonna whiff, but when he gets his pitch, it goes a long way. Just like his home run, I think that was Saturday night, went
Saturday.
450, 456. Obviously it's Coors, but he absolutely smacked the shit out of the ball. 110.3 off the bat. So the raw power is always going to be there. That's obviously his prospect pedigree. That's his biggest tool. It's the power. He's a big kid. He's like 6'5" or some shit like that. He's 6'4", but it just for being 6'4", he's such a lengthy guy, and it feels like he could just put on so much more muscle, but maybe his body just doesn't let him, or maybe he just doesn't want to. Because like he kind of flicks the bat, and it goes, 110 off the bat, 450 feet.
Yeah. Kind of like Jazz, where it's just the swing and just the lankiness, because I think Jazz is 6'3". Kind of like that. Not the same, but I get what you mean. My also counterpoint on Rooker, if his strikeout rate is like a decent bit lower than his chase and his whiff, that's probably more an approach thing, which is something that Ronnie, I can never pronounce his name. Ever since he got called up, when was it, 2023? Mauricio.
Yeah.
Okay, I keep wanting to say like Maruccio, like the bat company. Ronnie Mauricio. Ronnie.
More.
More.
ECO. This is now it's your speech time.
Post-apocalyptic.
More.
More.
ECO. Mauricio. There you go.
Ronnie Mauricio. That's just something he's gonna have to learn with, like you said, learn your swing and kind of tailor it to it. Where like, yeah, you could do whatever you want the first two strikes. Be a lot. I don't want to say more conservative, but be smarter. Don't be as aggressive with when it comes to like when you have two strikes. Be a lot more decisive in what you're swinging at.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's just something a lot of young guys have to learn, especially for a guy like this, where that's his swing profile.
Right, and that's always been his thing. He's always struck out a lot. He's always chased a lot. I mean, his lowest strikeout rate, came in, I guess 2019 in A-ball. Is that right? Oh no, there you go. 2023 in AAA, he struck out 18% of the time, but that's his lowest by a long shot.
Yeah.
Besides that, in even now in 2025, 23% of the time, and he missed 2024. In 2022, 23% of the time, 21, 24, so he's always struck out, and that's always going to be his downfall. But again, if he can find his pitch and be more selective and kind of just drive the balls he knows he can drive, he can be a successful major leaguer. It's just his approach or kind of lack thereof is always going to hold him back. So, and that's also why I think he needed some more time in AAA, because he played 9 games, and through his rehab assignment, he's played 19 games in total. So he's played 19 games after missing the entire year for ACL injury, and now he's back in the majors. Obviously, with the Vientos injury, that kind of, push comes to shove. I believe that's why they called him up. But I think if that wasn't the case, we wouldn't have been seeing Ronnie Mauricio.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but it was also the Dominican Winter League towards the ACL, right?
Yes, and 2023 was
so
the
that's
Dominican
even
Winter League.
Further when you think about it, because it's not like he got to spring.
December or January.
Yeah, so it's not even like he was in spring training. No, it has been a long time since he has actually played in a professional baseball manner, I guess you could say.
Environment?
Environment, yeah, that's a better
Yeah.
term when it comes to like spring training and all that. Because obviously,
Right.
like spring training isn't, oh, it's professional, but no, it still is.
It is, but it isn't.
But it's also more professional than Dominican Winter League. That's obviously not
Yeah.
a lock on Dominican Winter League, but it's more so just you get what I'm saying.
Yeah. But yeah, it's been, 15 months, maybe,
Yeah.
give or take, 14 months. So, look, I'm rooting for the guy. I know I kind of rag on him a lot because I don't, the profile is worrisome. Or I can't even say worrisome, but it's just like, it's hard to see this. I'm not sure where the floor is because of the ceiling is one of the highest ceilings in baseball. But I have a hard time seeing where the floor is for Ronnie Mauricio with his approach. But obviously, I'm rooting for him. He looked much better in Colorado. Maybe he just needs to get comfortable, and then we'll see how he does this week in Citi Field, because I know a lot of people are big fans of Ronnie, and I think he's going to get a pretty nice, not ovation, but kind of like a home welcome
Yeah.
from Citi
When
Field.
when do the Mets play the Tigers?
Tigers. I don't even know.
Because we need to lock him and Javi Baez in a room, and he needs to ask Baez, "What the hell did you do to fix yourself?"
Well, I don't even know if you can say that because I think Baez is now kind of back to
Oh, he's
Baez.
come back down.
I think he kind of fell back down to earth a little. Let me see if I can. I forget like his rolling strikeout rate.
I'm gonna look on Baseball Savant and see at least
Yeah.
expected weighted on base. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
going up and down. Yeah.
It's definitely an improvement.
I mean,
from
anything's
the
an improvement for a
past.
515 OPS last year.
Right. But yeah, he still chases and whiffs and all that. So
Never mind.
maybe lock him in the room to be like, hey,
How
what
do
do
you make
you
it
do
work?
so I know not to do it?
Yeah. All right, that's an L take on me. I take my L.
But yeah, that's really all I had on Mauricio. But the last thing to mention for injuries is Francisco Lindor got hit with the LA voodoo magic after Vientos, because we simply cannot leave LA without an injury. And last year, it was Alvarez and his ligament in his thumb. Lindor broke I think it was his pinky finger or a finger in 2022. Now he has broken his pinky toe because Tony Gonsolin hit him with, I believe it was a slider or something like that. But he has a broken pinky toe. It's simply a pain management type of thing. He played in the last 2 games in Colorado, to my dismay. I think this would have been the perfect weekend to kind of just give him a few days off and let him really rest. But anyone who watches Lindor, or anyone who kind of knows Lindor as a player, knows that that wasn't going to happen. Because, Friday night with his broken pinky toe, after missing Thursday's game in LA, came off the bench and hit a 2-run double to give the Mets the lead, because of course he did. And then he played Saturday and he played Sunday. So simply pain management. Carlos Mendoza said an IL stint is completely off the table. So there's no chance of that happening as of right now. Obviously, I think if he gets worse or if he just really can't play through the pain, then I think it would be smart to do so. But regardless, simply pain management. He's going to play maybe, this week you play the Nationals and the Rays, which we'll get into later. So maybe give him some more rest this week, because the week after that, you are facing an NL East gauntlet. But yeah, he'll be fine, I believe. It seems like, and again, it's just a pain management thing, so we'll see. But Francisco Lindor is just an absolute dog. He doesn't miss games. Doesn't matter what. It's very impressive to see his kind of his dedication and kind of just being able to work through things. Last year with his back, now with the pinky toe. I think the back was a much bigger thing than this pinky toe is, but again, just super impressive, and just I have all the respect in the world for Lindor.
I feel like him at 90% is better than him at 100%.
How so?
I feel like whenever he gets like a nagging injury, he plays better.
I guess maybe.
Look at the back. obviously the pinky toe, it's only been a couple of games in Colorado.
Yeah.
Say what you want, but I feel like there's so many times I hear like, oh, Lindor is dealing with something. Now I'm scared shitless to pitch to him.
Right. Yeah. Now he has a game-winning hit, or just a huge game overall. It's you know what? I think it's just a testament to his character and like just overall, what's the word? Like his ability to just get over adversity.
It reminds me of the South Park clip with, oh my god, what's his name? Mel Gibson. Where it's like, what, you're gonna torture me? Just get on with it already. Just torture me. Just do
Right.
it. Just do it. And they're like, what?
Fucking weirdo, psychopath.
But that's what I mean. It's just like,
Yeah. Yeah, he's just absolutely insane, and I'm so glad he's on my team.
yeah.
That's my motherfucking shortstop. Vote for Lindor.
Yes.
Yes.
Well,
'cause
this is
that's
not a
it.
political podcast, Nick. This is not a
Yes,
political.
it is now. Vote for Lindor right now. You watching, you listening, vote for Lindor. If you didn't do your 5 All-Star votes today, I will do it after this episode. Vote for Francisco Lindor. If he does not make the goddamn All-Star team again, I'm going to the MLB office.
Only
Vote for Francisco
you
Lindor.
can make Francisco Lindor an all-star.
Yes, I will commit voter fraud, bank fraud, tax fraud. I will commit so many frauds for Francisco Lindor to be an all-star. He deserves it. I love him. My shortstop, and he should be yours too.
All right, you hear that? Yep, we got him.
Approved
We got him.
message brought to you by Nicholas O'Brien.
All right, we got him. Yeah, send them in. Send them in. Right the house.
Open up.
Open up.
Anyways, yeah, All-Star voting's open, so go ahead and vote. Vote Mets and Yankees too, I guess.
Yeah.
Whatever. Some of them. Judge and Rice. Everyone else can go second. But that's
no
it.
Maximus. Oh wait, no, you
can't
do
vote for
pitchers. You can't do
pitchers.
pitchers.
Yeah, he does deserve it though. Absolutely.
No Goldie.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Yeah, I've sprinkled in some Goldie votes.
Some
I'll give
Belly.
you.
A little Belly, as a reserve.
No. Absolutely not. Trent over Belly. I don't care that he sucks right now.
Yeah.
His season stat line still looks fantastic. That's all that matters.
Yeah, just gonna ignore the defense.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Defense doesn't affect OPS, so I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, go vote for the All-Stars. 5 votes a day. Takes 2 minutes. Go do it. But moving on to the Dodgers series, finally, like I mentioned at the top of the show, very frustrating split. You could have won all 4. Tuesday night, blown save, then kind of weird misplay from Brandon Nimmo. Game over. Thursday, Brett Beatty, little roller towards third, double clutches, hesitates to throw it, spikes the ball in front of Alvarez. Alvarez misses it. I think it was Garrett. Garrett backs him up, gets the ball, but Alvarez is still standing over the plate, so Garrett can't do anything. And then Alvarez and Garrett kind of just like embrace each other at home plate as I think it was Will Smith scores the tying run. So again, it's just, especially Thursday, that's a game you absolutely threw away. You gave it straight to the Dodgers. You jump to a quick 4-0 lead, and then after that, you kind of just fell off the face of the earth. So again, just super frustrating. But the Dodgers are still a really good team. They capitalize on mistakes. You cannot make mistakes like that against the Dodgers. Pitching, starting pitchers showed out again. Paul Blackburn, Tyler McGill, Griffin Canning, David Peterson, absolutely masterclasses from all of them. Paul Blackburn threw 5 scoreless innings. 5 scoreless innings against the Dodgers and only allowed 3 hits. Like, what are we talking about? I will say he did revamp a ton of his pitches. Like I mentioned last week, the changeup was the biggest thing that I have noticed. He's getting a lot more drop, a lot less horizontal movement. He did not throw his four-seam fastball once, but he's getting more drop on his changeup, more drop on his sinker. His cutters kind of stayed the same, maybe a little more drop on the cutter. I'm looking through his pitch movement right now. That's why if you hear clicking, that's me going back and forth. You know what? Overall, across the board, he kind of improved a lot of the drop on all of his pitches. The cutter, the slider, the sinker, change up the curve. And, he throws junk, and that's just the pitcher he is. And he kind of kept the Dodgers off balance the entire game. And it was just Paul Blackburn just absolutely carved up the Dodgers. I mean, I think Ohtani went like 0 for 2, 0 for 3 off of Blackburn. And again, just insane stuff for Blackburn. He looked great. Colorado, he kind of got roughed up a little, but it's Colorado, so whatever. Tyler McGill had the worst start of this uh, quartet, right? Is that 5? Is that 4? I think that's 4,
Quartet's
right?
4, yeah.
Quartet's 4, right? Yeah.
I think
Okay.
so.
If not, I just looked dumb. So Tyler McGill had the worst start of this quartet.
A
He
quintet
allowed
is 5.
quintet.
Quintet is
Quintet's
5.
5. Okay, so quartet is 4. Excellent. He allowed 4 runs in the first inning, which bad. How is that a good start? That's so annoying. He allowed one base runner after the first. 4-run inning in the first. After that, only one other person reached base for the next 5 innings. So his final line is 6 innings, 4 runs. That's a good start against the Dodgers. I think that's a very good start. That's 1 run away from a quality start, which is 6 runs. Nope, 6 innings, 3 hit. Wow, 6
3
innings,
hits. That's
3 runs. So, as frustrating as it was to have a 4 first, being able to step back and kind of again, this is the game I missed. So if I miss anything, I apologize. Being able to step back and kind of just ground yourself and then go back out there for 5 more innings and allow just one other person to reach base was fantastic. The Mets scratched and clawed back in this game. They had a lead in the 9th. Well, Huascar Brosman got the save. And whenever Huascar Brosman pitches in the 9th, he is guaranteed to let up 1 home run. That's it. So he lets up a game-tying home run to Max Muncy, strikes out the next 3 hitters, go into extras. The Mets don't score the ghost runner, and then chaos. So, again, Tyler McGill, excellent start. Just a frustrating loss for the Mets because you had every opportunity to win. You had the lead in the 9th, and it happens. Wednesday night, Griffin Canning, 6 scoreless innings, allows only 3 hits, 7 strikeouts. I don't know what Griffin Canning had for breakfast or dinner, I guess, but he had like this different vibe and like swagger on him. Just walking off the mound, struck out Ohtani, kind of like stared him down a little. Like this guy was just something else. He has just been absolutely insane for the Mets. A sub-3 ERA into the second week of June. Um, you know, is he going to keep this up forever? Probably not. Definitely not. But I mean, it stops and it works until it doesn't. The way he pitches, again, it's kind of like Paul Blackburn, just like a ton of junk, but it works. And he's been fantastic, and he probably deserves an all-star spot. Just saying. But yeah, Griffin Canning, absolutely fantastic. 6 scoreless innings against the Dodgers. Can't draw it up much better. And then David Peterson, not as good as his other start against the Dodgers, but he still went 7 innings. Did allow 3 runs, but all 3 of those runs came from one bad inning where it just ground ball finds a hole, ground ball finds a hole, ground ball finds a hole. But still went 7 innings. Again, this is the Brett Beatty kind of misplay game. So you had the lead in, I believe it was the 8th inning. You let it go, and just kind of just like a stake through the heart twist. Ugh. Frustrating. Again, could have won all 4. Definitely should have won all 3. But with a team like the Dodgers, small mistakes cost you. It's comes back to not capitalizing with runners in scoring position. Comes back to the execution of some pitches and defense, which you saw from Brett Beatty. But the one thing you can take from this series is the gap between the Dodgers and the Mets has never been smaller. These 2 teams are so much closer into just talent, like organizational wise, production than they've ever been before. And that is what you should be taking away from these 7 games with Dodgers. Yes, you won 4 of 3, but even if you didn't, every game was close. Every game you had every chance to win. And I think that speaks more than winning the games, which sounds dumb, but I hope you understand what I'm saying. You win a the grand scheme of things, you win a 7-game series against the Dodgers. That sounds pretty good to me. Sounds pretty good to me.
Goofy. Get that goofiness out of here.
Sounds good to me.
That's a goofy way to put now. No,
No.
I get what you're saying, though. I definitely would
Right?
agree with that because I'm trying to think of it. Was there one blowout?
Every game was close.
I think there was one game on each side, and that when they were in LA, that like each team kind of won by a couple runs, right?
I'll double check. I don't think so. It went 4-3, 4-3 win, 6-5 loss. You're right. The Wednesday game was a blowout, 6-1. And that last run
Yeah.
was in the 9th inning. So you're right. The one game was not close, which was a Mets win. So thank God for that. And then the last game was a 6-5 loss, which was close, super close, and the Mets should have won up until the 8th inning.
I thought that last game was a little bit further apart too, but
No, 1 run. And I think the game they lost in extras at Citi Field, I think it was like a 2-run loss. So besides the 6-1 loss, 6-1 win, I don't think there's, a gap bigger than 3-4 runs.
yeah.
So all super, super close games. But enough about that. Put some things in on a bow, some shout outs for some of the players. Pete Alonso is just an absolute monster at the moment. He's slugging .967 in his last 7 games. 5 home runs, 15 RBI, 12 hits. He has tied. He
Whoa,
tied
by
and
the
then
way.
untied.
Boone has an issue with saying RBI.
I did see that.
Because he does
It's
bring up
RBI,
a really good
sorry.
point. He does bring up a really good point though.
I disagree, but go ahead.
Because
For
wouldn't
those
it
who
be
didn't hear it.
RSBI? Because it's
Right,
runs
runs batted in. Yeah, but RBIs sound
RBI sounds so much weirder.
It's RBI. 15 RBI.
But I feel like I
15 runs batted in.
Even if
The
it's like
the runs is in the R.
No, I get it, but I feel like there's so many times with abbreviations where like I'll add an S to the end, even if the abbreviation itself is plural.
Yeah,
because think about it this way, like
I disagree.
He had an RBI. He had
Right.
a runs batted in. You know what I mean? That already doesn't make sense when you
Right.
really think about it. He had 1 RBI makes no
Right.
sense.
1 run batted in.
So I feel like it would have to be he had 2 RBIs. He had 1 RBI. He had 2 RBIs.
No.
We will go back and forth.
RBI. That's it. I disagree. But yeah, he's
That's
just
why
an
you're
absolute
wrong.
monster. After kind of like a slow May, he has definitely picked it up over the last week. Single-handedly beat the fuck out of the Dodgers on Wednesday, and then, was it Sunday's game, a two home run game for Pete, tied and then untied David Wright for second in franchise home runs. He's now 9 home runs away from tying Darryl Strawberry for the most home runs as a Met. He's 10 away from taking that for himself, which is just insane because I remember watching this guy as a rookie in 2019, and he's like this close to taking the franchise lead in home runs, which, testament to Pete. It's absolutely insane. He probably would have already broken it if not for, 2020, but he's been a monster, and I'm now patiently waiting for him to get close so I can try to buy tickets and try to plan it. Like, it's kind of like Judge's 60-second where You want to be there, so you kind of just need to like guess and hope that one of these games he hits it. So that's gonna be fun. But yeah, Pete's just an absolute monster, and he has never looked better than right now.
He is going to make
Overall,
a lot of money in free agency.
yes, he is. After making no money in free agency, comparatively,
I'll take
of
no
course.
money. If that's no money, I'll
Yeah.
take no money right now.
But last thing I'll say about Pete, his Savant has never looked redder. Absolutely insane stuff from Pete. Like, holy crap. Even you go back to 2019, this is a completely different hitter. Completely different.
That's like
It's insane.
Aaron Judge's 5th best year.
Don't care. Moving on to Juan Soto, seems like he's kind of feeling himself a little bit in his last 7 games, hitting 333. His on base is over 500. He is slugging 500. Over his last 15 games, hitting 269. He's getting on base at a 436 clip, slugging 500. Kind of the Soto shuffle kind of made a return in LA. Kind of did a little bit of dancing, a little bit of shimmying. But he has looked better. He hit a home run on Tuesday night, but slowly but surely, he's kind of getting back to Juan Soto levels. And then let's shout out Jeff McNeil. He is a valuable baseball player. Uh, in generational core stat pad on Sunday, he now has an 888 OPS on the year. He is a good baseball player. To those Mets fans that just hate on Jeff McNeil, you do not know ball. This guy is a good, valuable baseball player. He plays second, he plays left, he now plays center, he'll play right. He's very versatile, and if I don't think the bat is gonna stay, at 800 OPS, but if he can keep it in kind of like a 780, 790 kind of spot, that again, super valuable.
The
So shout out to
best
Jeff
teams
McNeil.
have those guys. Like you
Right.
think about the Dodgers with he's obviously fallen off a cliff, but Kike Hernandez for a
Right.
while. You think of not for an extended period of time, but like Marwin Gonzalez with the Astros when they kind of
Right.
in like that 2017 2019 span.
Yeah. Even
The
though he's
best
cheating, but
That's another thing entirely, but the best teams need those utility guys that are above average offense that could give you 5 to 6 different positions of play.
right.
So
Even look at last year's Tommy Edman and the Dodgers. He played
that's a
second,
perfect
played
example, yeah.
short, he played center field, and he, fucking bent over the Mets and fucked them. So, yeah, those teams, those really good teams, those elite teams need guys like this because you got to have time to fill in, and Jeff McNeil does just that. And the last thing I'll mention before we look ahead, Beatty has taken a step back in his last couple games. It seems like when the pressure is off, he just disappears. When he's not fighting for his life to be on a major league roster, 'cause obviously with the Vientos injury, he has never been more sure of playing time. He just completely falls off. He did hit a home run on Sunday, so hopefully that, and he almost had another home run I think on Saturday. So some of the swings have still been good, but he's kind of fallen back to the approach where he's just getting behind in a lot of counts. And he's taking hittable pitches. He's a little indecisive, and then striking out or kind of rolling to the right side. So he's taking a step back, but hopefully that home run kind of lifts him up a little. I don't expect him, and I don't need him to be the hitter he was in May. I need him to be, very similar to Jeff McNeil, 780, 790 OPS, especially for Beatty, who can provide more power than McNeil. That's a valuable baseball player, especially for a guy who is now a plus defender at third base and second base. So, you know, that's for Beatty. But not the issue. But the other thing with that is Mauricio's here now, so he's going to see more at third. It seems like he's more comfortable on the left side of the infield, so I don't think he's going to be playing second base all that much. But Mauricio is going to be eating into that playing time as well. And if he hits well, then obviously even more so. And then the last guy is Luis Angel Acuna has not hit for about a month and a half. I'm as of right now, I'm not really sure what his role is on this team. He filled in for Lindor on Thursday. Again, really didn't have a good game. He's kind of just becoming that late inning defensive replacement pinch runner. And, as a prospect, maybe that's just who he is. And that's perfectly fine. That's a valuable baseball player. But if you still think Luis Angel Acuna is an everyday player, I think it's starting to become a conversation that maybe he should be sent down to AAA to play every day. And maybe, you know, he didn't, I can't say like find his swing because it's not like well at AAA either. So maybe the other issue is he only has one option as well. So if you option him down, doesn't have an option next year, that makes it a lot more tougher. So it seems like the Mets want to, hold on to that option as long as they can. And, because of the Mark Vientos injury, that kind of gives them a little more time to think about it.
I was gonna say one thing: when you send someone down due to an injury, does that count as an option?
What do you mean?
Say
Due,
Vientos
what do you
comes
mean due to an
back,
injury?
so you
Yeah.
activate Vientos, send down Acuna. Does that count
Yeah,
as an
that
option?
counts.
Okay.
That
But
counts.
what
Yeah.
if they sent down Ronnie? I'm not saying the last name. If they sent
Yeah.
down Ronnie, because I know there's something weird with that with injuries, where like it doesn't count in some cases.
I'm I'm pretty when it comes to injuries, I think it maybe you're confusing it with you can if you option a player, right?
Yeah.
You can't call them back up for like 14 days. I forget what it
Oh,
is.
that's
Call,
that's probably
call
it.
it
That's
four
probably it.
yeah, call it 14 days. But if there's an injury, they can be the
Yeah,
corresponding
I
move.
think that may be it.
Right.
Oh.
So, but yeah, so he only has one option. Mauricio also only has one option now that I look at it. So it's kind of like it's going to be a little
Which
tough
one do you
when
think is a
Vientos comes
guarantee to
back.
be on your team next year? That's kind of, which is almost like why are you sending the guy down that you think is going to be a guarantee on your team next year?
Right. I think Acuna has more
He has a much higher
like
floor.
more of a yeah, because of the speed, the defense, late inning replacement, late inning pinch runner, that has value on the team. With Ronnie, again, like I said earlier, I'm not sure where the floor is. And if he's not a everyday player, then what's his role?
Yeah.
Because he's looked fine defensively at third base and he played some shortstop. He's fine. But the thing with Ronnie has always been where is he going to play? Because he was a primary shortstop. Obviously, Francisco Lindor, you're not playing shortstop. At third base, now you have Beatty, now you have Vientos. Even Acuna's taking reps at third base. At second base, you have McNeil, you have Beatty. Jet Williams is still kind of coming up. Acuna plays second base. So the infield is becoming a very big logjam, and there's going to be some tough decisions once everybody is healthy. And that's not even getting back to, you know, we're still waiting on Jesse Winker to get back,
Forgot
right?
about him, dude.
And we're still waiting for Jose Siri to get back. So once those two guys are back, I mean, obviously, I think Jared Young is kind of as much as he's been a solid player for the Mets. Jared Young is obviously the first one to go.
Yeah.
But after that, it's going to become a very tough conversation. And I've, you know what? I forgot to shout him out. I forgot to put it in my notes. Just quick shout out to Starling Marte. He's been hitting well somehow. After wrote him off, maybe Unk still has it, but he has a 116 WRC plus on the year, so valuable. Good for Unk. But yeah, it once everyone's healthy, this is going to be such an interesting conversation because even I'm not sure what I would do as of right now.
Yeah.
But quickly, we'll look ahead and hand it off to the Bronx. They got 3 games against the Nationals, 3 games against the Rays. Nationals start on Tuesday. Canning versus Mackenzie Gore, strikeout leader in the league. He has been on a different kind of run to start the year. He's been insane. David Peterson versus Jake Irving, who always has the Mets number. He either goes 7 scoreless or gives up 4 runs in 5 innings. And then Kodai Senga versus Mike Soroka. I believe it's Mike Soroka. I think that's his name. I will be in attendance for Senga Day, so very excited for that. And then Rays over the weekend, Clay Holmes versus Taj Bradley, Tyler McGill versus Drew Rasmussen, and then Griffin Canning versus Shane Baz. Win. That's it.
Yeah.
Take 2 out of 3. Take 2 out of 3. Call it a day. The
Yeah.
Rays are an interesting team.
Is it in Tampa?
No, these are all at
Okay.
home. These are all in
I
city.
was gonna say because you
So-
never know what's gonna happen in Tampa, just because you never know what's gonna happen in a minor league ballpark when you make a team play in a minor league ballpark. But
Yes. The Rays are such an interesting team. I didn't realize Josh Lowe is actually good now after not being good. But Josh Lowe, Brandon Lowe, Andy Diaz, Jonathan Aranda
did you see
has
the
been
series they had
insane.
against the Astros?
No,
So it was a 4-game set. They outscored the Astros. I believe it was 32-9.
wow.
How many game? What do you think their record was in that?
Oh my God, tell me they fucking lost.
2-2.
That's insane. How?
I think they scored like 15
So
runs in 2 games, and then scored 1 run and 0 runs in the other 2 games.
insane. But I guess that's kind of
That's the
a
Rays.
testament to the
Yeah.
Rays. Yeah.
They are
You know,
either gonna crush you, or they're not gonna show up to the ballpark.
yeah. The top 5 of their projected lineup on Fangraphs all have a WRC plus over 100. Then the bottom 4, 93, 98, 88, 100.
Yeah.
You know. So, and the pitching has always been solid. Pitching has never been their issue. So, it should be a fun series pitching wise. But, these are 2 teams you should beat. These are 2 teams you should take the series from. And with that being said, that's all I had. So, Justin,
On that note,
do you have anything else?
let's take it into the Bronx.
Now entering the Bronx.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back into the Bronx, where the Yankees had a very up and down week. Lick my balls, Nicholas O'Brien. They had a very up and down week. So, before anything, because there is a lot to talk about with the injury report, brought to you by Triboro MD. So, Jake Cousins is in a rehab assignment right now. He's expected to be back soon. Of course, that's very, very vague. We talked about it before the season. You're not really going to have Jake Cousins and Ian Hamilton on the team at the same time because they do the same role. And I am so done with Ian Hamilton because I forget what game it is. I have it in my notes. I just got to find it right now. Yeah, it was game 5. So that was the back and forth game, yada, 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 Yarbrough versus Crochet. That's where the Red Sox, they got out to like a huge lead, absolutely shit on Ryan Yarbrough. But the Yankees end up scoring 2 in the bottom of the 4th to make it 8-5. End up scoring 2 more in the 8th to make it 8-7. Ian Hamilton starts the 9th inning. What do you think he does to the leadoff hitter?
Walk.
What is the one thing you cannot do to the leadoff hitter?
Walk.
He walks the leadoff hitter. How many times have I come on this podcast and said that the bullpen in general has had an issue with walking the leadoff hitter? Ian Hamilton, in particular, has had an issue with walking the leadoff hitter. I don't know what it is, dude. Just attack. Throw the ball in the zone. Especially a guy like Ian Hamilton. It's not like he's throwing 100 miles an hour. He's not. He's a guy that's based on stuff, about having good stuff. You can't walk the leadoff hitter. And I forget who it is, but I believe it was someone in the back half of the order for the Red Sox, too.
It just can't happen. I mean, just throw it down the middle. If they hit it, they hit it.
Yeah, especially in a one-run game when the team has the momentum, stuff like that, the worst thing you can do is walk someone and give them that momentum right back.
Yep.
So, that Cousins, who knows when he'll be back? It's very vague with him, too. It seems like 2 weeks is kind of the ballpark I'm putting it into. 1 to 2
Right.
weeks, but staying with the bullpen, Luke Weaver was placed on the 15-day IL with a hamstring strain. They said 4 to 6 weeks. I don't know if that's accurate still. It's so weird because Aaron Boone, who is usually like a very doomer on injuries, doesn't comment. He said that Weaver's doing very well and he's already throwing.
Okay.
So I don't know. They said he's throwing with intensity, whatever the hell that means, as
Right.
of June 6th or June 8th, so yesterday. It's been 1 week. I don't see this being a thing that's gonna take 3 more weeks. That could just be
Right.
maybe optimism, but
I mean, hamstrings are just
they're tricky. Yeah.
Especially what do you know? Was it his right or left? Like,
I want to say right. I'll look it up though.
Yeah, so that's kind of like
His push
the
off leg.
the push off leg. So maybe that has more to do with it. But yeah, soft tissue is always tricky, and for someone like Weaver, you want to make sure he's 100% before you bring him back because he is your closer. That's kind of basically where his role
Left.
has gone. It's his left. All right, so it's his what's it called?
Fall
Like his
or ground landing.
yeah, it's kind of
Landing leg.
like like the leverage leg because that's the leg that stays on the ground. 'Cause no, it doesn't.
No, it's his right. It's his
Stupid.
landing leg. Yeah.
Yeah, hold on. Yeah,
Yeah, his right
yeah. What am
leg's
I
his
talking
push
about?
off leg, so his left leg is
Yeah,
his
yeah,
landing
yeah.
leg. Yeah.
Yeah, what am I talking about? I'm dumb. I'm dumb. Don't listen to me. But yeah, even more so, just you want to make sure he's 100% before you kind of bring him back, and
Yeah.
especially for a bullpen that's kind of had some issues just closing things out. Weaver's been like the one guy that has been able to do that pretty consistently.
My only thing is this bullpen's running on fumes right now.
Yeah.
So that could be even more
No, for
reason
sure.
to kind of get him back sooner.
Yeah.
And the way that they said like the strains, like yeah, he was stretching and he felt something in his hamstring.
Mm.
So it's like you're saying that now you're saying 4 to 6 weeks, but now you're saying like he's already throwing with intensity. That's more what it is.
It's very odd.
I'm
Yeah.
not saying he's gonna see the minimum, but I have a very hard time seeing that he'd miss a month total with this.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
But so Luis Hill got an update on him. He has a couple more live sessions before advancing to live batting practice. It's kind of where we thought he was, kind of on schedule for that like very late June, early July type
Yeah,
thing.
for sure.
Then Giancarlo Stanton, he is traveling to New York today. They think that he will begin a rehab assignment
They think.
because
Maybe. Who knows?
they said I think it was 2 days ago that he will travel to New York on either Sunday or Monday, and he could begin a rehab assignment soon. They didn't mention anything of him traveling to New York on Sunday, so I'm assuming that means he's traveling to New York today. Why is this
I
so...
got nothing.
It's so weird.
I got nothing.
Have you ever seen an injury situation like this?
Maybe Jed Lowry for the Mets, but that was like a all-time fuck up on the Mets side of things.
I'm thinking maybe Jacoby Ellsbury, but he never got to this point.
Right. I don't know.
A week? A month? A year? 10 years?
Like I wish I could talk about it more, but I genuinely just don't have
An idea.
anything.
I have no clue.
We'll see.
Like that's really all it boils
That's
down
it.
to. And talking about that, I had the quote, now I lost it. But
Of course you did.
Andy Martino, because they asked him like what his like take on like Ben Rice, what happens to him when Giancarlo Stanton comes back. And he said that Ben Rice is closer to starting the All-Star game than he is to getting sent down to AAA.
Good.
Which is yes. But as much as I love Stan doesn't fix the issues you have on this team.
Right.
Like, yeah, you're getting the right-handed power
Stan
bat.
can't play third base.
Because Trent Grisham has slowed down. I'll get into that in a second. But so that makes sense. Okay, you know who you're kind of, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes. You know who you kind of like 4 guys in the that are mainly going to be starting with Grisham kind of sprinkled in there now.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't help you with third base / second base, whichever one you want to call it.
Right.
Ben Rice, get the glove.
Put on a third base glove.
Okay, because that's another thing I want to talk about too. Brian Hoke posted a video of Paul Goldschmidt taking grounders at second base. And he made it very clear and obvious that he was just having fun. Because I forget who it was, but I think like Marcus Stroman has taken grounders at short before.
Yeah, it was Stroman, yeah.
So it's like, but let's not run with that. Like, especially when it's a guy that's a 37-year-old guy that's only played first base in his career.
Yeah, come on.
Like, at least with Ben Rice, we could say with third base is he's a young guy. He has shown the ability to learn a new position on the fly. Granted, first base is a lot easier than third base, and there's a lot more that has to do with catching. But you also got to think catching a lot of it is reactionary. Like, yeah, you know the ball is coming, whatever. That's kind of how third base is. They call it the hot corner where it is based on reactions.
Yep.
We'll see. We've talked so much about Ben Rice, third base, whatever. But did you see the amount of bullshit he was getting in this game on Sunday?
No.
He hit a ball 106 miles an hour on the screws. Abraham Toro makes a Superman catch. Then another one, Ben Rice hits an absolute monster of a shot, right? That's hit like a mile in the air. They showed the flags. It looked like hurricane force winds blowing in. And he hit the ball to the warning track.
You just can't make it up. Generational unluckiness
Like,
for Ben Rice.
say what you want about like the hurricane force winds is a stretch, but it looked like at least 15, 20 miles an hour of wind blowing in. And when you hit a ball that high, it's going to hang up for longer.
Yeah.
But it's just it's honestly comical at this point. I'm very happy that the team isn't, because obviously like the stats are with the stat. He still does have good stats on the year, but they're not looking at those only, and they're saying like, yeah, like this dude is getting absolutely hosed. Yeah. He's the only player in Major League Baseball to have 7 or more plate appearances where he hits a ball that has an expected batting average of 700 or more and then be outs.
It's insane.
But whatever.
That's absolutely insane.
Anyways. Getting into kind of Cleveland overall, you won the series. That's all you can ask for. I feel like you can never sweep the Guardians.
Oh yeah,
they're too annoying. They're way too
annoying. Scratch and claw.
So claw. The game 1 was Rodon versus BB. This is Jazz Chisholm's first game since being activated from the injured list. They sent down Jorbit, no longer Jorbanet. Makes sense. He was kind of the most similar to Jazz, and it should have been Pablo, but it makes sense why they did. And Jazz had a short porcher in the 7th inning. Volpe went back-to-back with him. That gave the Yankees the lead. They had a 3-1 lead. Carlos Rodon, he went 7 innings, only 1 earned run, 5 hits, 1 walk, 8 strikeouts. A lot better start than a start in Boston, or against the Red Sox. I'll get into that in a second. But Devin Williams, this was the first time that he got called to make a save. I believe this was the only save opportunity he had all week. I believe so. But this is how it went. It was 30 pitches, fly out, double, strikeout, single, stolen base, fly out. It didn't look horrible, though.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Like, yeah, he let up 2 hits. He let up a run. It didn't look horrendous.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes any sense. He looked like he had control of the changeup. There was no... I think I would be a lot more concerned if there was a walk or 2 in there.
Right.
There's no walks in there. It was 2 hits against a very pesky Cleveland lineup. So, yeah. I'm not saying that Devin Williams is back. It's a good step.
Absolutely, yeah. But we've said that before.
We have said that before. But then the other Rodon start was against the Red Sox. 5 innings, 3 hits, 5 earned runs, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts. This is his first bad start since April. And even then, I'd make an argument that he shouldn't have gone out there for the 6th inning because he clearly was pretty taxed, clearly didn't have it. And then he ended up giving up a 3-run home run to Carlos Narvaez to give the lead right back to the Red Sox. So, and people are like, oh, why did the Yankees trade Narvaez? They traded him for nothing. Elmer Rodriguez Cruz is going to be, once the rankings update, he's going to be one of the best pitching prospects in the Yankee system. It was either trade Narvaez or lose him in the Rule 5 draft.
Right.
That's what it was. You know what I mean? You at least got something for him.
Very valuable.
Exactly. And if they trade Rodriguez Cruz for someone else at the trade deadline, that's going to be because of the Narvaez trade. But anyways, that really was kind of, there have been times where there'll be moves. I try not to be overly critical of bullpen management because it is a thing of, say that Nestor Cortez gets Freddie Freeman to pop up. You know what I mean? Boone is a genius. Yeah. But he didn't. Now he's an idiot. Granted, that was Tim Hill's spot back in the World Series. But I try not to be overly critical because there are times where it's like, yeah, we don't know everything going on. One guy could have came to the ballpark and be like, yeah, I only feel like 90% today. You know what I mean? Like, I can
Right.
still pitch, but I don't feel 100% for whatever reasons. They want to try and stay away from him. But I think this was a really bad move just to leave him in when you didn't throw any of your high leverage guys the day before.
Right.
So that plus
And
Jonathan
off day today.
Off day today as well.
Yeah.
And Jonathan Loizaga, and you also have Max Fried pitching tomorrow.
Right.
So you're thinking you're going to
That's
get
like
length from
6
him.
at least.
So the other thing too was Jonathan Loizaga, he pitched 1 inning, 1, 2, 3 innings, sent the Red Sox down. But then they tried extending him, which is something he has shown he just cannot do. He's shown that he cannot go multiple innings recently because they're almost chasing the Michael King, trying to get that 2 inning guy back. Let me tell you something. The reason Michael King was able to do that is because he had the ability to be a starter. Jonathan Loizaga does not have the ability to be a starter, so that's just not who he is. I'm sorry if you could hear Band-Aid and Barney. They really agree with me on this point. But the Red Sox went back-to-back, I believe. I know it was Toro, and then I believe... Oh, my God. They're going... I'm sorry if you could hear them.
It was Story, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, but I was going to say then it was Story.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense why they're going back-to-back with him. That's really the only big issue I had, I guess you could say. And I will fact-check myself on Devin Williams. He did have another save he did have a save against the Red Sox where he allowed a walk. That was the only base runner. So,
Yeah.
good job there, Devin Williams. But
Way to be.
yeah, that was the only issue really with the bullpen management. I saw a lot of people saying like, oh, this, blah, 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 blah. It's like, yeah. The only other thing I would say is maybe game 2 against the Red Sox, pulling Yarbrough a little bit earlier because he did not have a good start by any stretch. I didn't write it down. I forget if it was 8 or 9 runs, but it was only in 4 innings. I believe it was 8 runs. This game was also weird because Volpe and Jazz both didn't play. It made sense with Jazz because you don't want to play him every day since coming back from injury, whatever, yada, yada, yada. Volpe got hit in the elbow, and it kind of looked like he was still favoring that elbow in Sunday's game, but neither of them started. Both of them did end up playing in the game, though. They both ended up pinch hitting. And yeah, this was just... Wells had... The Red Sox scored 1 run, then Wells had a 3-run bomb in second. Then you close your eyes, and it's 8-3 in the 4th inning. And as I mentioned, they score the 2 runs again. Ian Hamilton comes in, but it's also a thing of people are like, oh, Boone mismanaged him. You scored 7 runs in a game that Garrett Crochet started, and your 3rd best hitter against lefties wasn't playing.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, I agree.
Falls on the pitching.
It does fall a lot more on Yarbrough. This was the first bad start from Yarbrough. Do you think the clock struck midnight, or do you think it was just a thing of the Red Sox can absolutely break?
I look, as much as the Red Sox have struggled this year, I still think they are a very good team.
Mm-hmm.
And no, I don't think this is kind of like the end of Ryan Yarbrough's insanity run. I just think it was a bad start. Nothing he's done up until this point screams lucky / regression candidate / whatever you want to call it. Everything he's done up to this point looks sustainable. It's sustainable changes. It's sustainable production. I think it's had a bad start. I don't really think there's much else to go about it. Obviously, I didn't have time to really look into it on a deeper level, but yeah, I just think it's a bad start.
I definitely am in that boat too. Definitely gonna give him like 1 or 2 more starts, kind of just like see because he has been so good for you. But that's really the biggest issue is that Jazz and Volpe, neither of them played. I trusted one person in the Yankees infield. You know what I mean? Because you had Pablo Reyes, he played at 3rd. I forget if it was I believe it was in this game, where there was a play where he just did not cover 3rd base.
I saw that, yeah.
He just did not, and it would have been a close bang-bang play. They may have got the guy, they may not have. I think they get him. I think they do, but obviously never know because it didn't happen. But that ended up letting other runners score. He just didn't think there was a Volpe had to play on, or who was the Peraza had to play on the ball, so he didn't really cover the base, which I feel like is baseball 101. That
cover.
I'm just so done with Pablo Reyes. I've talked way too much about him that I don't want to talk about him again because that'll make me scoop my eyeballs out. But
30 plate appearances in like 3 months.
Yeah,
just saying.
I'm pretty sure he's been on the opening day roster. I'm 95% sure he was on the opening day roster, so he has been on this team since March 27th.
2.5 months.
Yeah,
30 plate appearances.
Bad. But going back to the Guardian series, you had two very inverse games where Clark Schmidt versus Luis Ortiz, the Yankees lost that game 4-0. Clark's having too many of these starts where it's like he's given up like 3-4 runs. I will say, to his credit, he let up 3 runs in the first and then settled down, went 5 2/3 innings total without giving up any more runs. So, to his credit, 4 2/3 scoreless after that. But he still did have those 3 runs that kind of like, in the first inning, that kind of makes you feel like, really? I was rewatching Thunderbolts when this happened. So I did not have to watch that. Lucky me. But then game 3, you had Fried versus Seconi?
I think it's Sachechi, something like that.
That.
Sachichi.
Yankees won that one 4-0. Literally the complete opposite. You had a Bellinger 2-run home run. And then kind of the two, 3 big things that I want to look at were Max Fried. He was awesome again. Had a really good bounce back start. He went 6 innings pitched, 1 hit, 0 earned runs, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts. The big things though, he had a 28 pitch first inning. He only allowed 1 base runner after that inning, and that was a walk. So that's, and I'm pretty sure it was in like the 5th or 6th inning.
Right.
So he settled in, only had 3 base runners, went 6 innings. Perfect. Awesome. Especially with the Guardians, with the luck merchants, all that. They could get so lucky. So very good to win that. Jazz had 3-hit game. That was great to see. I know he had like a little bit of a weird series against the Red Sox, but he has played very well since coming back. And a lot of that has to do with how he mentioned that he's only going to start playing at 70%. Because he mentioned how he would just try way too much to overswing, try too much, put the ball in the yard or out of the yard. And he noticed that when he was kind of coming up in the minors and first coming up, he was better when he was just given what was pitched to him, when he wasn't trying to force it to hit a home run. And that can be something that is tempting at Yankee Stadium, especially as a guy like Jazz with the type of power he has, with the pull he has. It makes a lot of sense. So just definitely something to note, because he did, I believe, what game was it? Yeah, game 1 against the Red Sox, he had an absolute mammoth shot to dead center that he just let come to him, and that ball was drilled. So that was a 3-run home run. But the big thing in that last Guardians game is in the 7th inning, they intentionally walked Aaron Judge. Bellinger, I forget if it was a single or a double, gets an RBI that at bat right after. That is what has to happen. That's just what has to happen. If Aaron Judge gets intentionally walked, whoever is behind him has to come up. Whether that be get on base, someone else does it. If Judge gets intentionally walked, you have to do the best you can to not make an out behind that.
Yeah, definitely. Because then later on, if teams now realize you can't just walk Aaron Judge, then you're going to have to pitch to Aaron Judge, and that's going to be in a very good position to be in.
Yeah, a very good position to be in. And because I don't know how they differ, but you look at Fangraphs and you look at Baseball Reference, they are very different in their term of high leverage.
Yeah.
Because Fangraphs has Judge at a 710 OPS in high leverage. Baseball Reference has him at about a 1250 OPS.
Right.
So, very different.
I don't know the difference either. But
very different. But you look at Baseball Reference, they love him in high leverage. But yeah, you had that. The Guardian series overall was just kind of one of those things of, you won the series. That's all you had to do. The season series is tied because you did lose that series in Cleveland earlier. So, got to see. You shouldn't be in a position where you're tied with the Guardians. That's kind of the point that I'm getting to, where you should have a better record than the Guardians, because it looks like at this point that the Tigers are going to win that division, barring a historic collapse. So it should be a thing of you should win the AL East right now, especially with the lead you've built. So it shouldn't necessarily worry.
Yeah, for sure.
But then just quick things on the Red Sox. Will Warren pitched a lot better than his line showed, because he let up a solo shot in the 5th inning, then let up 3 runs in the 6th inning. So overall, his line was 5 and a third, 3 hits, 4 earned runs, 4 walks, 6 strikeouts. All 4 of those runs came in the last 2 innings.
Yeah.
So that could just be a thing of the Red Sox have a really good offense. It's Yankees, Red Sox. It's going to be wonky as hell. But these games always are back and forth. Mentioned earlier, Devin Williams had the save to lock it down.
Right.
Just trying to see if there was anything else with. Yeah, the big issue with this Red Sox series is that you allowed 8 home runs this series. 5 of them on Sunday Night Baseball. This all comes down to the pitching. It just does. I'm sorry, you scored 9 runs, 7 runs, 7 runs. Like, yeah, you could have said, oh, there's more times they could have come through. I'm sorry, you're averaging more than almost 8 runs a game over a 3-game stretch. That is not on the offense. That is purely on the pitching. And it's a lot of... Will Warren pitch solid, but you look at Rodon and Yarbrough, these were their first bad starts in how long? A month and a half? 2 months? Something like that, in a good amount of time. So I'm not really overly concerned with them. My only issue is Rodon's a guy that we've talked a lot about how mentally you get a little worried with him. Seems like he's become a lot better mentally. How's he going to bounce back? You know what I mean? Right. How is he going to deal with this bit of adversity after a while? Yeah. I think he'll be fine. We'll see. Of course, his wife tweeted before the game that if he has a good start, that the All-Star ballots start getting popping up.
Well, thanks, Ashley, right?
I think it's Ashley. Yeah. It starts with an A for sure. But
yeah.
people are gonna shit talk that, by the way, about his
wife
tweeting his starts.
I think that's so cool.
It's not like she's shit talking the other guys.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Kind of blowing him up.
It's her cheering
to an extreme level.
It's her cheering on her husband how you think a wife would.
Right.
You know what I mean? But if anything, if you have no issue with that, but you follow Talking Yanks, we have a problem. If you know, you know. I'm not going to get into that. But anyways, that's really all it comes down to, the pitching. There were some weird bullpen management. And kind of a shocking stat that I saw is that the Yankees are one of 3 teams in baseball to have trailed at 3 runs at one point in the game and not win that game. They're 0-15.
That is interesting.
I believe the Rangers, and I forget the other team. I want to say the Braves or something, not Diamondbacks. Definitely not Diamondbacks. They have devil magic confusing.
Probably the Braves.
But do you see that? Do you know on the Braves, because I saw this earlier, in 15 games since Ronald Acuna has come back, do you know what their record is?
I think they have it's 2 wins. 3 wins.
3-12.
Yeah. What a shame, man.
Didn't we have them winning the division?
Yep.
Also had the Red Sox win the division, but
yep.
I mentioned Trent Grisham earlier. Kind of the only thing I did want to talk about, because a lot of the stuff that we could talk about, I feel like I've talked about so much.
Yeah.
But Trent Grisham, since May 6th, so 117 plate appearances, he has 670 OPS, 95 WRC+. I feel like that's Trent Grisham. You know what I mean? Trent Grisham, the reason I wanted him to play so much last year is because he is a league average to a bit below league average bat. That is so much better than what you were getting from Alex Verdugo. He went on a crazy hot streak. I am not taking that away from him. He still should get, call it 2 to 3 starts a week. Mm-hmm. But Ben Rice, Jason Dominguez, Cody Bellinger, Paul Goldschmidt are all playing a lot better than him.
Yeah.
Goldie has come down a little bit. Shocker. it's gonna happen, but he's still hitting very well. So out of those 5 guys, I don't see how you can routinely put in Grisham over a lot of them. And that being said, in Sunday Night Baseball, Trent Grisham did bat 7th, which kind of shocked me.
Right.
So they had Bellinger and Rice over him. Didn't really think they would do it, but they did. So definitely something I want to look at. But then a quick look ahead. I don't know why I said it like that. So the Yankees have an off day today. Then they have 3 7:40 games. You got Max Fried versus Noah Cameron. Noah Cameron pitched very well this year. 2-1, 0.85 ERA. Wednesday, Clark Schmidt versus Chris Bubich. This is probably the hard game out of the 3 because Chris Bubich is pitching
Insane.
incredible. He has a 1.43 ERA. Will Warren versus Seth Lugo to round it out. And Lugo is... This is why wins and losses are stupid. He is 3-5 with a 3.46 ERA.
Getting DeGrommed.
Just don't look at Paul Skeens if you don't want to get pissed off. But
Yeah.
then you play the Red Sox again. You got Ryan Yarbrough versus Garrett Crochet. You got Ace off again. Carlos Rodon versus Hunter Dobbins again. I didn't even mention Dobbins. Dobbins talked about how, if the Yankees are the last team to offer me a contract, I'd retire. Aaron Judge promptly hits an absolute piss missile off of him. Aaron Judge never been in low leverage allegations, hitting 2 home runs. Okay, the first one was not. The first one was definitely not. But
it wasn't high leverage.
It was me. Is
It
that
wasn't
medium?
low leverage.
Is that medium?
I don't know. Probably.
Because to me, that's medium.
I feel like it's like low plus.
But
It's the beginning of the game. Like there is no leverage. You know what I mean?
To me, though, I feel like if the game's tied, that's medium leverage.
But like the beginning of the game,
that's why it's so finicky, though.
Yeah, I got to read up on like the definitions
because it also doesn't take into account of like it's Yankees Red Sox Sunday Night Baseball. The series is 1-1. You already add you know what I mean? So like, for me, if I was judging, I would say medium.
Sure.
If I had to pick one,
I give it a low plus, or medium minus.
Medium minus. I will accept that.
Medium minus.
It's just for me. If it's a tied game, to me that's medium leverage. It may sound stupid, whatever, but
sure.
But then, Ryan Yarbrough, Garrett Crochet, Carlos Rodon, Hunter Dobbins, and then Max Fried versus Brian Bello. Reason I want to highlight the Max Fried was not supposed to pitch. He was supposed to pitch on Wednesday, but they swapped him and Clark because Fried will still be on normal rest. That way you get him on Tuesday and Sunday. He was supposed to pitch on Wednesday and Monday.
Okay.
But now you're getting him for that game.
2-pitch week.
2-pitch week, yeah. But got to win both those series. The Royals won. How have the Royals been playing? They've been like up and down, right?
Like I said in the offseason, the pitching is good.
The hitting
solid.
Sucks.
It will keep you afloat. The hitting is not good. But they do have Jack Caglione, I think.
Yeah,
Jack Caglione. He got called up. He's an absolute monster. So he'll be fun to watch.
He looks like a freight train.
Yeah, he's built like a fucking truck. Let me look. The Royals have 1, 2, 3 above average hitters in their lineup. Yeah. Bobby Witt, Michael Garcia, and Vinny Pasquantino. And, I'm not going to rag on Jack Caglione because he just got called up, but...
He's been up for, 5 games?
Yeah, he has currently 25 plate appearances, so whatever. But Salvador Perez...
That's where
time. Yeah. I think Father Time has finally caught up. Jonathan India has not been good for them, unfortunately. And then they have Drew Waters, John Rave, who I didn't even know was on the team, and Kyle Isabel to round out the offense is just not good. They currently rank 24th in OPS, 27th in runs scored. So pitching absolutely should be...
In a pitcher's park, too, in Kauffman.
Right. Yeah, fair enough. And then, pitching, solid. You're probably facing their 3 best.
Yeah.
It's a toss-up between Lugo and... Oh, no, I lied.
You are missing Reagans.
Reagans has a 5 ERA?
He has not been good on the year, I know.
Holy shit,
yeah.
What?
Yeah. Only some dumbass to pick him as your Cy Young.
You want to know what his FIP is? Holy crap.
Like 2.5?
2.39.
Jesus Christ, dude.
This guy's on generational unluck. But yeah, you're missing Reagans, but Bubic solid. Noah Cameron, he's a regression candidate. He's you can make this the regression game if I can open the link.
You could be the regression monster.
He has a 3.64 FIP. His BABIP is 148. His left on base percentage is 99. Like, these are just completely unsustainable shit. Like, the Yankees should be all over him.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, to tie it up in a bow, hitting sucks, pitching is solid.
Yeah.
And their bullpen's okay.
And then flip that on the head for the Red Sox. Awesome hitting,
Pitching is good.
bad pitching.
Yeah. I forgot.
So,
yeah. But whatever.
Yeah.
Anyways.
That's all I had. Unless you had anything else, Mr. O'Brien.
Don't let Trevor Story own you again. That's really it.
Decided he wanted to wake up for 3 fucking games, but
For 69 WRC plus.
But
and have fun with the monster. Big monster. But with that being said, thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching. As always, if you're watching on YouTube, remember to hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, follow us there. Leave us a rating. Leave us a review. Lets us know that you're enjoying this show. Follow all of our social media accounts at Triboro Podcast, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook. We post lineups. We post final scores every single day. Give us a follow there. And thank you guys again. And we'll see you next week. Another episode.